It's Monday, June 14th, 2021, 6:48 a.m. I've been in front of the screen for quite a while. Didn't want to start the recording yet, but I'll jump right into it with a long trade here coming into the open. I had one other long trade down here, which I got stopped out for 4. Didn't really like the trade. I didn't really like the lows here. It ended up being obviously a very good trade, going to my target here for 46. I was in at 28 for a nice win. So the result doesn't change the fact that I wasn't real excited about the low. We low ticked this coming back into Sunday's point of control here, and definitely thought it was likely. We had some weak structure here to the left to go higher, but I managed it a little too tight, which I talk about quite often, and here we are again in a trade that I'm getting a little nervous about, being close to the open and not able quite to break the highs here. And I've reduced my stop to 5 ticks of risk here. Before I was down at about 52 down here, but this changes the trade a little bit, because if we get down below this chunk of volume here, I don't really want to be in this trade anymore, because then we're stuck below this structure. So I did reduce risk a little bit on this trade. So we're not a whole lot to talk about as far as context, because we are pushing up into fresh space again here. We're opening above range, above value, and no real reference for higher prices. So makes things a little bit more difficult knowing where we're trading to. We don't really have anything to go on. No fresh liquidity above other than the overnight high at the 70s. So that's very likely to have that tested, at least. But above that, who knows? It seems like we're stuck here, and it's having a little bit of trouble even testing that overnight high. But it's very likely. The question is it going to happen before it comes down and takes me out? We will see. Nobody knows. I certainly don't. Let's talk about targets. Where is my target? Well, to break the 70, we'll see what happens above this, but if I can get anywhere in this 80 range to lock in 20, I'll see where that looks like. And there we go. There's the flush and volume coming in here pretty heavy. And now we will just watch and try to manage it on the number bars, and we'll see where the volume goes. But we see pretty big volume here, and which is to be expected. So obviously we're going to be at break even now. And how do we manage this trade? Well, expectation would be that the upper side of this structure holds, so there's not anything to do. If I'm going to stay in this trade, I either close it for some kind of profit here, or I hold it and expect this structure here and these bar highs, the overnight high, for this structure to hold and to move higher, and we'll see. And that's just kind of comes down to, now we manage order flow and see what the dome looks like. And there's some size on the offer at 71.75, but that's nothing new. There's size all the way up into 72 round number on the dome, but other than that, there's nothing really popping out. And 71.74, there's size there, but it's kind of popping in, popping out on the dome. So I fully expect higher prices here. We'll see. So here's that upper side of structure being tested here at the 68s. So looking like I'm probably going to get taken out for break even. And there's my break even there. So that sucks, but it was worth a shot. Where did price go? Got all the way up to 75. So my entry at 62, that was about 13 ticks in equity. So yeah, I could have closed that anywhere above the overnight high at 70, but I'm going to take 10 or 11 or 12 just randomly. Doesn't really mean much. So trying to look for that a little bit of a bigger move. So it's all right. That's how it goes. This has just been a super slow, boring open so far. After we came above and broke that overnight high. We just kind of came here and chopped around, and this is definitely not the strongest high up here. Put in some volume and tried lower, and then we came down below and broke the structure here. So I'm actually short right now. Came down, tested the lower side of the structure, and then we imbalanced down, and that was my trigger to enter this trade. My expectation is to come down through, at least down into these untested bar highs here. These lows here are also very likely to go. So 71.25 and below that to test the overnight low at 71.05, but not likely gonna hold for that. I'd be happy to get into this 71.34 area. The way it's moving so slow, if we even get down there, that would be okay. We'll see how it handles those lows when we get there, if we get there. My D-risk will be a break below these bar lows at 43. That is reasonable. If we get back above, anywhere above that, back to my entry after that break, I won't want to see price up there again. So well, that didn't work at all. This structure didn't hold and did not test below these lows and came back up and ripped and took out this weak high above, which is not surprising at all, being that how it was formed, and this really was accepted price here for quite a while. Basically before the open all the way up, 10 minutes after the open, this was all accepted value, not unfair price at all. So to see price back up here again is not surprising at all. This is more the structure of an unfair price, but now we'll just kind of see. It's definitely a very slow open so far. Not much going on at all. We've barely moved at all. We're in a 30 tick range so far. Just gotten chopped to pieces today. It's been, you can see in this profile, this isn't even a value area. This is like a block. Crazy. Probably best to not have even traded today. I'm down, way down, almost close to loss limit today so far. So I'm currently in a short, trying to grab a trade based on structure here. We've broken down below value. My expectation is to take out these lows, and will likely hold all the way down through a test of the overnight low. And if not, this will be my last trade because I will be over my loss limit. So I'm not going to whine, not going to complain, but definitely days like this question and don't feel like I have much of an edge at all. Feel like I'm just kind of throwing darts. I kept trying to get long here. Expectation was that a small poke above this overnight high, and then just all these tests here. This seemed like a very weak high and likely to test. Yeah, this one we did have high volume with a test above. So you could also argue that buyers weren't real strong here, but there were some decent pushes down. For example, here, increases in volume and an imbalance push, and then every time I try to get long, I just get smacked back down again. Tried again here. This one doesn't make much sense. I lost sight of what I was trying to do here, and looking at the structure, this value, we had bet value above, the range value here. So really, until we got back up above into this upper range here, I shouldn't have been looking for any longs, but just one of those days. So we'll see how this one plays out. And either way, win, lose, or draw, this is probably going to be my last trade. It's so slow, not much volume, and not much to do here. So